Hey guys, what is going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale, sharing the best of the best players in the game playing the Dart Goblin card in the Bren Chong CWA tournament. Now, this is going to be a lot of fun. I put up a bounty for $100 if anybody can finish top 3 using the Dart Goblin, and so many big names in the community have joined this tournament. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be a ton of great gameplay for you guys to enjoy, starting right now with Gabewhatsupguy from Elite Gaming going against literally the world's best Pompeyo, who finished #1 globally last season. Yeah, this is going to be a really good episode, so I'm going to provide some commentary for you guys. We're also going to talk about the new draft challenge that's back. I want to talk today a little bit on top of the gameplay, on top of talking obviously about the Dart Goblin and decks that he fits well in and analyzing the gameplay. I do want to talk a little bit about the draft challenge, and more specifically about challenges in general and whether or not they should be a staple of the game or whether they should be something that just kind of alternates and revolves, kind of like they are right now. I want to talk a little bit about Supercell's stance on that as well, because they did comment today in Reddit about their opinions on these challenges, so I'll share that with you guys as well. But hopping into this match, it looks like Pompeyo is going to pick up this W against Gabe. Gabe, actually one of our better players too in Elite Gaming. He actually started streaming, I believe, this week. I'll include that link in the description if I remember to. I'm sure you guys will remind me if I don't. But this is going to be a little bit of a longer episode. I'm going to stay with you guys till the end of this tournament. Let's take a look at the top decks here, see how many players I might have to pay out here. Again, if anybody can finish top 3 in the overall tournament using the Dart Goblin, they get $100. I do this from time to time in these tournaments that are graciously hosted by Bren Chong, usually with new cards. So let's follow Pompeyo around for a little bit playing this Expo deck. This is, I want to say, the same deck that he used to get to #1 global. It's funny how the meta kind of evolves, right? The Expo was absolutely huge in the game about 6 months ago. It kind of dwindled down, it almost went extinct, and now it's huge again. And it's partially what people are playing in terms of counters. So remember, it went away when the meta changed to those big tanky decks. Everybody playing Goizen, everybody playing Golem Giant decks. A lot of Golem Giant Graveyard, that kind of evolved from Goizen with the Mega Minion to the Graveyard decks. Now that people are starting to switch things up again, you don't see those Barbarian Huts quite as much as you did in the previous meta. You don't see those big tanks quite as much as you did either. So now it's a little bit easier to play Expo, play Siege decks, and they've definitely taken over the game in a big way. So Pompeyo not afraid to use his rocket immediately. If you're gonna rocket an elixir pump, make sure you do it absolutely immediately so they can't get any value out of that pump. That's gonna be an even trade there, so it basically negates their pump, and people who are playing the pump, they want to use it. So more often than not, it benefits the person who's using the rocket. They want to get that momentum, they want to build that elixir advantage, so you're taking that away from them. So Pompeyo going against another Lava Hound deck, so back-to-back Lava Hound decks, and you can see how artfully every single time that Lava Hound is played, he takes advantage with the Expo, and he doesn't over-defend the Expo when he knows he'll have to defend the Lava Hound in the opposite lane. One thing I can tell you about Pompeyo is he's going to have precision placement on all his defensive troops, so these replays are the type of replays you're going to really want to watch. I told you guys there's a lot of big names in here, and honestly, it's really a virtual who's who of big names in the game. We're missing Marcel in today's tournament, kind of bummed out about that, but other than that, we have CMcHugh, who I'll be showing you a bunch of his live matches. We have Backstabx is in this. We have obviously Pompeyo. We have a bunch of guys from Elite Gaming who are doing well out the gate here. We have Loupanji. We have just so many other big names. We'll definitely switch around these guys as we go, but Pompeyo gonna pick up another. Oh, we have Astro, who's a really good player as well, and the list goes on and on and on. So we'll definitely alternate, give you guys all sorts of good gameplay, and more importantly, I hope you guys can get some good ideas on finding good Dart Goblin decks from all these replays. Now, using the Dart Goblin in an Expo Siege deck is definitely interesting. So Dart Goblin plays an important role. The Dart Goblin, he's a chip maniac. If you can get him onto a tower, especially if you put an Ice Golem in front of him, he's going to take down like half the tower's HP. It's incredible how much damage he can eat up. Although he doesn't do a ton of damage per hit, he really eats away. It's definitely the quintessential chip damage troop in the game. I know a lot of people actually really enjoy the Dart Goblin, especially as they get him leveled up. I guarantee you're going to start seeing more of him in the meta. I clicked on the wrong match there. My bad, guys. That's the thing about these matches. Whenever anybody changes places, you kind of miss the live entrance into the match. So let's switch over to Surgical Goblin. How could I forget Surgical Goblin? He's in here too, guys. I told you, everybody is in this tournament, and I can just hear you guys commenting, I'm not in this tournament, and I'm a top player right now, but you know, you get the point. There's a lot of really good big names in the community here. So let's follow Surgical Goblin, see what type of deck he's playing here. I anticipate a lot of Expo decks, but I know there's going to be some Graveyard, and there might even be, I saw a few people playing a Minor Control deck. Now, Minor Control is another deck. Talk about a deck that went extinct. Minor Control was definitely that. I don't think anybody was playing it. Minor Control was my absolute favorite deck in the entire game throughout all the histories of the meta personally. So if I find a deck that does well with Minor Control, I'm going to pick it up and use it myself in this tournament. So we'll just have to keep our eyes out for that. Also, it looks like Surgical Goblin is playing, in fact, a Graveyard deck with the Bowler. It looks like he has a lot of defensive counters in this deck. He has, obviously, Ice Golem, can combo that with the Minion for defense against Elite Barbarians. He can also combo Ice Golem and Bowler with the Graveyard, get some quick damage, distract that Crown Tower on offense. So, a lot of options here for Surgical, and again, using the Dart Goblin, we're going to see how he uses the Dart Goblin right now. Dart Goblin's so fast with a fire rate there that he's able to stop the fire spirits coming down the lane, also do a little bit of damage, you know, albeit limited by that fireball, to that Goblin Barrel that was sent at his right tower. So it looks like players are using the Dart Goblin in a similar way that they would a Musketeer, especially in a deck like this. Basically, not the same amount of HP at all, but as kind of a defensive support role that can later turn maybe into an offensive chip damage source. So a little bit different in terms of the amount of damage it deals out, but in terms of utility, it's really a similar type role. By the way, guys, did you see the commercial for the Dart Goblin? It's one of my favorites so far. It's really hard to choose favorites, but I really like how Clash Royale puts out a new commercial for every new card inside the game. I think it kind of makes things a little bit interesting, and it's cool that they come onto the scene with a little bit of fanfare. So I like those. It's basically, if you didn't see it, I'll link it below. Not that it's that hard to find. Clash Royale's Facebook page. By the way, Surgical with a nice Graveyard right here, comboed with that Fireball, really bringing him back into this match. But I'll link it below, but basically it's just this giant, back to the commercial, and this giant is just shot by like hundreds of darts, and then you see little Dart Goblin way off in the distance shooting him, and with that expressionless, you know, kind of mask thing he has going on. I think it's pretty cool, and it looks like Surgical is going to finish this one off, and he does. So Surgical Goblin with the win there, doing what he does best, beating opponents. So he's going to go ahead and get up in the rankings here. Do you guys think Surgical can finish #1 overall? Do you think Pompeyo can finish #1 overall? Do you think Marcus is actually a really good player in his own right here. Marcus representing Hammers Esports as always. So let's see how he does in this match. So from Hammers, just off the top of my head, I'm sure there's more. We have Nick, who's actually full frontage, who's streaming right now. He's playing as well. So Surgical Goblin, Nick, Backstabx, Marcus, I'm sure there's a bunch more too. Love those guys. Shout out to Hammers Esports. So let's see what Marcus is playing here. A Hog deck, a nice predictive Fireball, able to take out that Dart Goblin as well as the Mega Minion, doing a lot of damage to him, allowing the Musketeer to finish up that cleanup there, but a nice Ice Spirit played by Pompeyo. Ice Spirit and Skeletons, a great counter to a Musketeer all by herself in the lane that will shut her down before she's able to get one shot off on the tower. And here it is, almost halfway into the match here, and Pompeyo plays his first Expo. He was sitting at close to full elixir there, plays an Ice Golem for cover. Expo's going to tear through that Musketeer and then lock onto that tower for Marcus there. So although Marcus did strike first, he has no choice but to play the cannon at this point. Another time delay there for Pompeyo, allowing the Expo to do even more chip damage to that left tower for Marcus. And the cannon, you know, it's not a bad counter. He needed to do something to stop that Expo, and hey, the cannon got the job done there, and now it's a little bit of a tie ball game, but this is going to be difficult for Marcus because Pompeyo, if you remember, he's also playing the Inferno Tower. So another nice fireball there, taking down the Dart Goblin, but here it comes. It's going to be an Ice Golem and the Expo. That's a lot of protection for that Expo. Plays an Ice Golem himself, does Marcus there, and a nice zap to reset the targeting, but it's still going to be too little at this point because the Expo is going to tear through, and look at the job that Pompeyo is doing to protect this Expo. Just biding time before it's able to retarget onto that tower, and there it is, tower down. So Marcus really doing everything he possibly could to try to counter those Expo pushes by Pompeyo, but it's really difficult, especially when you're playing against, you know, the world's best, to try to stop once he has his rotation going. He was able to protect that Expo really well, and at this point, even with 22 seconds left, it's going to be difficult here for Marcus because remember, Pompeyo hasn't even played two cards. It's the Rocket and the Inferno Tower, I believe, so it's going to be really tough. That's two hard counters in the deck. There's the Inferno Tower for the Hog Rider, and they know good game. So let me talk a little bit about these challenges. So I ran a poll on Twitter the other day asking you guys what your favorite challenge in the game so far has been, and Electro Wizard just narrowly beat out the draft challenge. I think it was 33 to 31%, and over 3,000 of you guys voted. So, you know, suffice it to say, the draft challenge really super popular, and so was the Electro Wizard challenge. So let me talk a little bit as I look for the next match to view here. You know what? Let's go into a Loupanji match. Loupanji already has the lead here, going against Jay with the Lava Loon deck, and Jay is also playing the Dart Goblin. So Dart Goblin v Dart Goblin, two very different decks here though. The Bowler Graveyard deck played by Loupanji at the bottom, and Jay, it looked like Loupanji, this is a fast match. I promise I will get to the challenges, but Loupanji pulls off the 3 crown there. Let me follow Loupanji one more time if I can stay with her here. Let's take a look-see. So yeah, this is going to be so good. Pompeyo now in first overall with 26 minutes remaining. So it's crazy how good that guy is. It's just insane that, you know, 1,000 players, no big deal. You know, I'll just be first. Halfway through the tournament, I'll just chill in first. Don't mind me, guys. So let me kind of scroll through here, see where everybody else is. I do want to kind of Trainer Chris, another good player here. So many big names. So let me just pick somebody to actually watch and stop being so indecisive. Okay, let's follow CMcHugh. So CMcHugh is another really good player. Let's see what deck he's playing, and if he's playing the Dart Goblin, I'm sure he is, because I'm sure he'd love to take my monies. So let's see what he's got here. Starting out with an Ice Spirit, trying to cycle. Going against, it looks like maybe it's got to be some sort of a bait deck, otherwise why would you be playing the Goblin Barrel? And there goes the Rocket, so a hard counter to the Expo. It looks like McHugh is playing the Expo deck as well. We'll see if it's the same exact one that Pompeyo is playing. So he should have Ice Golem in rotation. There it is, and that's able to stop the Skeleton Army. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys to watch this match. Well, I'm not going to leave you. I'm still going to be blabbing your ear off, but I do want to talk a little bit about challenges. So the draft is here, and you guys love it. I love it. I think it's one, me personally, I think that the Electro Wizard challenge was a game changer because it's the first challenge that gave you a legendary card guaranteed if you win. Now, winning isn't easy, but still, it's a way for players that have skill, even if they're not the best player in the world, they can technically just grind them out, and it's way cheaper than buying super magical chests, just grinding out, you know, 10 grand challenges, or 10, excuse me, Electro Wizard challenges, trying to win one. You know, if you get 12 one of those times, easier said than done for a lot of you guys, I realize that. I probably played 20, that's a Freudian slip there, I played 20 of those Electro Wizard challenges. I won 3. I might even play like 25, but I played a lot of them over the 2 days or so that I had a chance to actually play. I grinded out a lot, mostly in the bathroom, TMI, I know, but that's where my best challenge play takes place. I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably in the same boat. It's a good place to hide as well. So if you remember, that was during the holiday season, so I was off work and everything kind of made for a lot of long bathroom trips. But why the hell am I talking about this? Sorry, guys. So I think it's a great thing. I think it was awesome because what it did was it introduced a way for free-to-play players, or at least players who didn't want to unload thousands of dollars. I know Bren Chong is the first one to max out all these new legendary cards, and sometimes it costs him upwards of thousands of dollars to max out one card, because remember, especially with legendary cards, it's not like, you know, when there's a new common or a rare and you're absolutely inundated with a new card when you open a chest. It's different with legendaries. You know, there's only one chest that, you know, is guaranteed a legendary card, and that's a legendary chest. Otherwise, you get like a 33% to even have a legendary in a super magical chest. Don't quote me on the 33%, but it's around that area in Legendary Arena. So you're not even guaranteed a legendary card every time. So I love that they did the legendary challenge to get you the card without having to pay a ton of money. I think that should be an absolute staple of the game for every new legendary card that's introduced. CMcHugh pulls off the victory there. Pulls or pulls, either way, he got it done. So let me go ahead and follow. Let's go back into a surgical match here. Now, if you remember, he's playing the Boulder Graveyard Dart Goblin deck, so this will be another fan favorite for sure. I'm sure all of you guys love Graveyard. But back to the legendaries, I think that it's so important to add that to the game. I hope that Clash Royale sticks with the theme. Of course, we won't be getting any new legendary cards in the next 3 cards. We're getting Executioner next, then we're getting, I don't know the order, but Goblin Gang, as well as the Battle Ram. I'm really excited for Battle Ram. If you guys don't remember, for 4 elixir, Battle Ram will charge at your opponent's tower or structure. It's a defense targeting card, and what it does is a lot of damage, and it has that charging ability similar to a Prince and a Dark Prince. And then once it dies, once the Battle Ram dies, 2 Barbarians are spawned, and that's all for the decent bargain price, in my opinion, of 4 elixir. I still want to put out a video talking about the new cards, the Executioner, the Goblin Gang, and the Battle Ram before they come out, and just sharing, you know, my experience with the cards on the developer build, which I'm still allowed to use and play them right now. Unfortunately, I just can't share any more of the gameplay. I shared like a 10-second clip with you guys about a week or 2 ago. Other than that, I'm not allowed to share any more than that, but, you know, I digressed a lot there. But the point is, new legendary cards are hard to level up. So are epics, really. They have the new epic Sundays, but, you know, I don't know. You know, epics are difficult as well, but legendaries are super difficult. So I'm really a huge fan of the Electro Wizard Challenge. For all the new legendary cards, just, you know, swap in the new card legendary challenge. So the draft challenge. I know a lot of people have been asking Supercell to instill a policy where there's always a draft challenge, or there's always a random card challenge, or basically they give you the challenge options to play in-game, and it's just a regular thing. You always have these fun options to play these different types of challenges, in addition to the usual grand or classic challenges. Basically, even for friendly battles, just have that additional game mode to choose from. Really spices up the game for everybody. And a Reddit user by the name of Kurd actually posted today on Reddit asking for the draft challenge to be permanent, and the official Reddit of Supercell of Clash Royale responded, and I wanted to share their response to you guys because I know a lot of you guys comment on my videos as well, asking for just the same thing that Kurd was. So they said, our current, well, quote, our current thinking is that the special event challenges are special and fun because they're not available all the time. You know what they say about too much of a good thing. This may change at some point down the line, but for the time being, that's how we're feeling, even toward the draft challenge, which is our favorite too. So, end quote. That was their response. So it sounds like they're a big fan and they hear us all loud and clear because I'm championing the same movement that you guys are. I think it'd be a heck of a lot of fun, not just for the competitive players in the game, most of you guys probably watching my video, but also for the casual players out there to have more game mode options. So my personal opinion is that I agree with Clash Royale here in Supercell to the extent of I don't think there should be 50 game modes to choose from. In other words, I don't think there should be a random deck challenge, as well as a draft challenge, as well as, you know, Electro Wizard challenge, as well as all the other challenges they've had. There's been quite a few, I think, but the draft is a little bit different. I think that draft is almost a game mode within itself. It's different. It's not just a random deck. It is a strategic game where both players are on, you know, they enter in, there is an element of chance, but they're both relatively on equal playing ground. It makes you use cards you're not used to using. It gives people a break from the meta. So that is really one of the most important things I like about it. It gives people a break from the meta and the ability to do something new and fun. Drafting. It's a fun thing to do. Everybody seems to like it. As soon as they bring this challenge into the game, I know my clan chat, at least, it spikes. Everybody doing friendly challenges, just having fun doing drafts. So my feedback to Supercell, if you're listening, is just consider giving us the draft as a permanent feature and it being really a one-of, because what I think you found here, maybe serendipitously, maybe you just wanted to have a fun challenge as we go over back to Pompeyo, who's still dominating here. I think you've kind of stumbled upon something that, you know, deserves a new game mode, a new staple of the game, deserves to be there. I don't think it would be too much of a good thing to keep it in the game. I think just like regular tournament level standards opened up a new window of game mode within the game, I think that drafts would do the same thing. So let's go ahead and hop back into the actual matches here, because I've blabbed enough about challenges. I think you guys know where I'm coming from, but I am interested to hear your feedback if you agree or disagree with me. Who knows, maybe some of you out there actually agree with Supercell. You love the challenges, but you don't want them 24/7. So let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback about challenges. So let's hop into Loupanji's match here. She's on the bottom, and it looks like she might be in trouble, although one good graveyard push, or maybe even sneaking in a Dart Goblin on that left lane, might take down that left tower. So here comes Elite Barbarians following up the Golem. The Golem already dead now. Golemite still barely clinging on to life, but that bowler is a great counter to the Elite Barbarians. Now Loupanji just has to get something going in that left lane, take down that left tower, and of course, Sandstorm at the top here has the Elixir Pump still on the board, so has the advantage there. So here comes the graveyard played by Loupanji, needs to get something going there, and there's the last card in Loupanji's deck. It was the freeze spell, able to take down that left tower. So here comes another big push here, Elite Barbarians in the right lane. That right tower for Loupanji just clinging on to health, going to need a big push here to end things off. Otherwise, Loupanji is in big trouble here with that tower really on life support. So Loupanji has no choice but to go super aggressive here. There's the bowler, there's the graveyard, free spell. Ooh, very, very close there. I knew Loupanji was trying to cycle that free spell at the same time, trying her best to defend there, but Sandstorm picks up the W in that match, and Pompeyo falls to number 2 on the leaderboard. Let's check in with Pompeyo, see how he's doing here. So defending this time against oh, this is an interesting deck. This ought to be a very good match here. Pompeyo on the bottom and Gaga at the top. Now Gaga, I haven't seen a ton of matches by him, but he is known to be a very good and underrated player. He has the Elixir Pump, the 3 Musketeers, and look at that, the Giant and the Prince. A very interesting deck. The Prince is not necessarily a staple of the current meta at all, to say the least, especially with all the skeleton armies, the tombstones, and all those hard counters to Elite Barbarians that are really littering decks everywhere. It's rare to see the Prince, but what he's going to do here is try to combo Prince, 3 Musketeers, and the Giant, and that's going to be very difficult to counter. The Musketeers are going to do a good job supporting that Prince, taking down those units, and look at that! That rocket there just barely missed that Prince. Otherwise, it would have been Prince down in a very, very adept defensive move there by Pompeyo, but that Prince able to get the charging stab, and then I think 2 or 3 additional stabs onto that tower. That does a lot of damage, and that, my friends, is the power of the Prince in today's meta. You can't forget about that, guys. So here comes another rocket defensively by Pompeyo. Pompeyo not afraid to use that rocket defensively if there's a big push coming, and his left tower, this could be I don't want to jinx anything, but this could be Pompeyo's first loss of this tournament. So Gaga able to get that giant down just in time there again, followed by the Prince against that Expo. So it looks like it's going to be Expo down as soon as that Prince makes contact, which it is. Dart Goblin doing a nice job there by Pompeyo on defense, uses the Ice Golem to distract those few remaining minions. Here comes the Three Musketeers though. It's just a relentless swarm of troops onto Pompeyo, just not giving him the opportunity to get that Expo down safely. That might have been a little bit of a rushed Expo there, but I don't think he knew the Three Musketeers were coming right afterwards. Really, if you look at the deck that's being played by Gaga right here, it's very difficult for Pompeyo to get his Expo down and protected by that Inferno Tower at the bridge. It's almost impossible because whenever he gets the Expo down, the Gaga is ready there with either the Prince Giant combo or the Three Musketeers, and it's just very difficult to stop both of them coming. Again, here's the Three Musketeer play, and look at this. Oh, look at this move. Oh, man, that could have been the defensive play of the century. Pompeyo there using the log to push back those two of the Three Musketeers and hoping to snag them with the rocket. Man, if I had instant replay, I would show that one again to the folks at home because that was insane. Using the log to push the Musketeers into the range so that the rocket would be able to hit both the Crown Tower and two of the Musketeers. It just didn't work out, unfortunately, from Pompeyo, but that's why he's #1 in the world, ladies and gentlemen, because of plays like that. So this time, again, having to stop the Giant, followed by the Musketeers, doing the best he can with the Inferno. Oh, look at that! I missed the right tower. He apparently missed the right tower. He says, wow, and look at that. Gaga pulls off the victory, and that's the trouble with the Three Musketeers split. You just keep splitting them, and I don't know if this was the case, but I know at least me, I was so focused on that left tower that I didn't even pay attention to the right one. Maybe you guys caught it, or maybe you guys had the benefit of rewinding, and I do not. So Astro at the top here is a really, really good player. He deserves to have his name out there with the best in the world as well. So I'm going to go ahead and include all these pros' Twitters. If you want to reach out, ask them for tips, ask them for advice on any of the decks that they're using. I'll make sure that everybody I've covered in today's video is linked in the description below, so they're worth a follow. A lot of these guys posted the decks that they're winning with, so you guys can get some good ideas there as well. So be on the lookout for that in the description below if you guys have Twitter. By the way, if you guys have Instagram, I'm now a little bit more active on Instagram. That's Clash_with_Ash on Instagram. It's actually in my new channel art as well. Shout out to Powerbang Gaming of Clash of Clans fame for making that for me. And by the way, since I'm talking about the channel, guys, by the way, really nice hog push here coming right at the perfect timing there. The hog's going to get a lot of damage done by Astro there on that tower, and you know, it causes JK at the bottom to have to play that Mega Minion, have to wait on the Mega Minion because he doesn't want the Mega Minion to go ahead of the Lava Hound. So I'll get to the channel news in just a second. I want to see how Astro deals with this push. Oh, and that was so nice, man. That Inferno Tower rocket combo is absolutely lethal against the Lava Loon, and you're seeing Inferno Tower make a comeback partially because of the popularity of this deck. Look at the deck that Astro is playing. Check out this deck. This is unique and original here, guys. We have the Inferno Tower, we have the Log, we have the Rocket, we have Dart Goblin and Fire Spirits, along with, of course, Mega Minion, Hog Rider, and Ice Golem. A very, very defensive-oriented deck, of course, with that offensive punch of the Hog Rider. So a really cool deck to try out if you guys are looking for a really strong control-ish type defensive deck with that one big win condition being the Hog Rider, of course, able to chip down the idea here, excuse me, is to chip down a tower low enough so that you can finish it off with either the Log, as in this situation, or the Rocket if there's more HP left on the tower. So a very nice win there by Astro. And back to the channel news, guys. You know, I've been saying this for quite a while now, but I will tell you guys that I am closer than ever to adding face cam, especially to videos like these where I'm just watching matches and reacting. I think that some videos are best left without face cam, if I can be totally honest with you guys, especially more instructional videos. But right now, it'd be kind of cool just to interact with you guys. Like if I was looking at you right now, it'd be much better than me just kind of, you know, constantly just talking over everything. So I promise I will be adding face cam to my videos, as well as a new look, a new overlay, a new background, new year, new channel. I hope for big things, but you know, honestly, and I say this in full sincerity, I'm just enjoying the ride. I think that I have some of the most unique content on YouTube, and I'm not trying to pat my own back here, but you know, let me just be honest with you guys. I realized about 4 to 5 months ago, so it was relatively recent considering that Clash Royale has been out for over a year now, but I realized about 5 months ago or so that, you know what, I think I'm an above average player, but I'm definitely not in that top 1 percentile of the world. I just don't play enough, you know, I understand the game intimately, I am just not the best player in the world. So I decided, you know, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm not Eclipse, I'm not Molt, I'm not Nick at Night. I'm not entertaining enough, I don't think, or at least I'd have to rebrand my entire self, my entire personality, to make myself more entertaining, to appeal to that certain type of player. And I'm not the best in the world, so people aren't going to come to my channel just to watch me play necessarily, although I think I could get by on that and do all right. But what can I do that's different, that's not out on YouTube anywhere? And that's when I got the idea for pro tips. And for videos like this, where I just, you know, I try to bring in the pros, I try to give them incentive to be on my channel, either the bounty challenge or to help their YouTube channels out, because I know a lot of my pros have gone on to make their own YouTube channels, such as Colton, such as Marcel P, Surgical Goblin, Electrify, and the list really goes on and on. And so my idea was, why not give them incentive and try to bring the community together and make, you know, kind of a home for the best players in the entire world on my channel, where I join them and I try to get to the heart of what makes them a really good player. And that's how the whole Pro Tips series came to be, and that's why I'm so happy with the direction of my YouTube channel. Even if it's not going to blow up into millions of subscribers, I really stand by the content in being unique, original, and just fun. I hope I make it somewhat fun for you guys at the same time as being educational. I have no idea why I'm talking about my YouTube channel right now, especially that we're nearing the end of the tournament, but I just thought I'd touch base as Astro picks off another win there. So he should be going high in the standings right now. Let's take a look at see where he is, and oh boy, Pompeyo also dropped down. I just want to do a quick check of the top decks, guys. Oh, and there it is, EC or SE. You guys know how awful I am at names. Well, either way, he or she is playing against Al Pacino. A little celeb action here in this tournament. I said there'd be big names, and well, did I not deliver? Did I not deliver with Al Pacino himself? I mean, ahem. You wanna play rough? You wanna play rough? Okay, say hello to my little friend. And if that wasn't the cringe-worthiest thing I've ever done on my channel, well, be sure to let me know what was worse. So apologies to your ears for that one. If I leave that in, then oh my god, I'm crazy, but I'm gonna have to because I'm doing this in one take. Anyway, sorry, I don't know why I did that. So we're gonna go back to this deck here. I love this deck by Essie here. It's really the quintessential control deck, because what you have is 3 chip damage sources. You have the Princess, you have the Dart Goblin that can do a bunch of damage in a short amount of time, and you have the Miner that can chip, all 3 can chip away at a tower. And then on top of that, you have the Rocket, which can basically, what you're going to be doing here is getting the tower down to within rocket range using those 3 sources of chip damage. Of course, you also have the Bowler that can do an additional amount of damage as needed, but you're using the Miner as a tank for your Dart Goblin, or you're using your Princess at the bridge. And the last card there that has not been played is an Inferno Tower. So there's a lot of defense defensive capability as well. So this match, though, doesn't look like he is doing that well at this point here. It looks like left tower is going to be down, and Al Pacino is going to come out on top of this match, and that might be a sneaky good thing for me because it might be $100 less out of my pocket. But doing what he can here at this point with the miner and the rocket, but it's just not going to be enough against that right tower. So that's going to be GG. But you know what? Let me go ahead. I thought I saw another miner control up here. Let's see who it was, if we can hunt them down, and then we'll try to... Oh, here it is right here. Okay, great. So this is Johnny at the bottom on Reddit Troopers. So Johnny is playing another version of this deck, this one without the princess, and has the Ice Golem in it. And I actually think I like this version a lot better because Ice Golem is just such an OP card right now. It's just amazing. I think the Ice Golem, I mean, I hope it doesn't get a nerf in the next round of balance updates. Even though it's so widely used, I think it's been one of the best additions to the game over any other card to the game. I just think it's an amazing stopper on defense, and offensively, I mean, the death damage is makes it an amazing combination card on hog pushes, and just is the most versatile card in the entire game aside from the direct damage spells. So I hope they don't touch Ice Golem, but Ice Golem is in this deck, and if Ice Golem's in a deck, I automatically like it. That's a great rocket there doing damage to the tower that Johnny's already targeting, on top of removing, absolutely negating that elixir pump. Oh, and check it out, I didn't even realize that Johnny was playing against Leonardo, who's actually one of our newest members over in Elite Gaming. So, ooh, this is going to be tough. You know, my heart wants to root for Johnny because he's playing a deck that I really, really love, but I have to pull for my clanmate here, and I do have some special interest involved because I don't want to have to pay another $100 to Johnny. So if Johnny wins this, I'm pretty sure he's going to lock down $100 for himself, and basically what he's trying to do here is use the Inferno Tower to defend against this unorthodox deck here that Leo is playing. You see this deck a lot in the game right now, but instead of the bowler, it's actually the Elite Barbarian. So this match, over 100 live viewers. I think we got over 200 live viewers on the Pompeyo matches earlier, but it looks like the pressure is on Leo here. So allow me to explain exactly how this deck works, especially in this matchup for Johnny. So what Johnny's doing is doing a good job at defending against the big golem pushes with the Inferno Tower, the Dart Goblin, the bowler, and the Ice Golem to distract. You can see he's setting up defensively right now. He has the Inferno Tower, perfect placement, the Ice Golem to distract, and the Dart Goblin in the back, basically just sniping away. Now, after he defends here, he used the miner there defensively, but after he defends successfully, you're going to see it in maybe about 2 cards now, I think, for Johnny. He's going to send the miner back to the tower and just chip away in between these successful defenses. So there's the Dart Goblin. The miner should be next. So let's see if it is. So there it is. The miner is next. The miner goes onto the tower. The miner's going to do a few hundred HP damage off the tower. Wasn't that successful there. Very good placement of the Ice Golem there. So it's going to have to be one more cycle. But you can see both of the opponents understanding their opponent's cycles. So here comes the miner again, cycling back to that miner. So now the tower is going to be low enough to finish off with a rocket and a log. Here comes the rocket, and there's the log, and that's going to be a victory. GG, well played for Johnny. So Johnny, it looks like, is going to walk away with $100, and I'm going to reach out to him immediately after this tournament. Doesn't look like he needs to play. He is, yeah, that's very, very nice. It looks like Sandstorm is going to secure first place, but he is not playing the Dart Goblin, so we're not going to focus too much on his deck, although I will show you what he's playing before the video ends. So let's see how Astro does at the very end here. Now, he has an outside shot if the chips fall correctly at maybe getting third place. I'm not 100% sure, but I can't see Johnny playing again at this point. So let's follow Astro for a bit and see how he does here against this. Okay, this is a more traditional deck right now. The Pump, the Giant, the Elite Barbarian deck. So again, trading the Rocket for the Pump. it's cyclical, right? When people start playing the Elixir Pump again, people start playing the Rocket again. So you start seeing more Pump, you start seeing more Rocket, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And all of these pro players are, if they're teaching you one thing in this video, it's that nobody will hesitate on using a Rocket against a Pump as soon as they place it. No sense in letting somebody get any value out of an Elixir Pump, and it happens here again by Astro immediately rocketing down that Pump. So here comes the hog push. Astro just trying to get maybe at least a swing on that tower. He does, but he needs to get more damage here at this point because there's a big push incoming. He cycles back to the Inferno Tower, distracting that giant away, and a very nice placement and timing on those fire spirits. That was a pro play there. Otherwise, that Mega Minion was liable to take down that tower all in his own there. He was really had plenty of time. If you go back and look, while that giant was distracting both the Crown Tower and the Inferno Tower, for that Mega Minion to inflict a lot of pain onto his tower. So Elite Barbarians sneak onto that right tower there. Again, pretty good defense considering the Elite Barbarians were already at the tower there by Astro, but he needs to get a serious hog push there in this left lane, and he's finding it difficult to do so. Here comes the giant, just relentless with the giant pushes there. A good Inferno this time. It doesn't look like this is going to be a super difficult push to defend against here for Astro. He sends in the Dart Goblin, perfect positioning again. Dart Goblin is going to be taken out by the log, but here it comes. It's going to be a hog push in the left lane and the Elite Barbarian push in the right lane. Elite Barbarians just barely connect to the tower, unfortunately, and Astro goes down. That was a very well played match by both players, and let's see where they end up finishing here. So let's take a closer look at the standings. At this point, it looks like Johnny is definitely going to get second place here, and let's just look at all the decks. I'm just going to run through them quickly for you guys, and if there's, I'm going to copy this one. As I said, next video, I'm calling it right now, next video on my channel will be a pro tips with Johnny on this control deck because I love minor control. I'm happy to see it do well here in this tournament, and it looks like he's going to end up tying for second place in this tournament. So let's see if any of the pro players are still playing after we go through these top decks here. Just take a look. It looks like Surgical Goblin is going to finish very close to the top as well. 5th place right now, unless something changes, maybe even 4th place. Let's hop. Oh, this match is already over here. So Lars goes down. Unfortunately, Lars representing Elite Nation, who is our sister clan over at Elite Gaming. And let's see the rest of the decks here. A lot of Lava Loon, of course, no surprise there. A lot of Graveyard, a lot of Furnace. Just basically the meta right now, right? Except for that minor control deck, a lot of Graveyard, a lot of Expo, a lot of Lava Loon. So let's just keep going down. Let's see if we can find any of the top players. It looks like Pompeyo and CMcHugh probably tilted towards the end here. Let's just take a look at some of these decks, though, anyway. It sucks because Pompeyo was in first place, and here he is down in the 30s. He was in first place for a long time in this tournament. And it just goes to show you guys, if you have one little bad stretch, you get a difficult matchup, somebody hard counters your deck. We saw him just barely lose against that interesting giant Prince deck, if you guys recall from earlier this video. And, you know, after a loss like that, you lose a lot of cups. It's tough to make that back sometimes. He might have lost another match in the interim as well to be this low in the standings, considering he had a very big lead in #1 overall for a while there. So things were looking very good for a second there, but look at this. The Musketeer gets a lot of damage onto Pompeyo's left tower. I thought Pompeyo had this one. His Mega Minion connects on that right tower. Both towers are very low in HP. He's going to have to defend well here. Watch while Pompeyo cycles. This is defense, guys. He plays the Ice Golem, Ice Spirit, Dart Goblin, cycles back to the Ice Golem. Talk about a fast cycle. Now he needs to get this Expo, but just not enough time there. Falls victim to that Zap spell, and the Dart Goblin doing a lot of damage there against him in that match. So started off very strong, ended up probably getting a couple losses to the end there, guys. But that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. Again, I'll go through the decks. Oh, look at this. Phi doing pretty well there, representing Elite Gaming there, and he's also streaming. I'll include that link for you guys as well. Guys, we're going to end it here. 45-minute video. huge props to you guys who stayed all the way till the end. Love you guys. Really appreciate all the support you give me. I hope I can give you a little respite from your day to hang out, talk Clash, and have some fun. So guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.